For over 100 years, people have flocked to Coney Island for unique food, thrills, and excitement you could find nowhere else in the world. But since 1927, the main attraction has been the Cyclone coaster. The standard by which all other coasters have been measured is still there, waiting to be challenged. On Saturday, May 15th, a decade of pain, loss, broken promises, failure, and embarrassment will all come to a head as Jets fans descend upon the Coney Island Cyclone in force, take over this train right here, and dump a decade of disappointment as we scream the world's greatest football chant from the top of this mighty New York City landmark. Join the likes of Sack Exchange from Twitter, Matt O'Leary, GreenBean, and so many other die-hard New York Jets fans as we climb our way to the top of the Coney Island Cyclone. 11 a.m. Saturday morning, May 15th. Get your ass over to Coney Island and experience the world's tallest and fastest New York Jets chant in history. In 2009, they rode the Mangini Express, Rex did, right to the AFC Championship game. Then they built upon that and got to the 2010 Championship game. And then it came. The worst offseason in New York Jets history. Yo! What's happening, everybody? It is Thursday. I thought it was Wednesday all day. Not all day, but a large chunk of it. And yeah, so Thursday it is, and here we are, man. I'm happy to be here. What do you guys think of my unsolicited haircut that I got today? The guy promised it was going to be the greatest haircut of my entire life, and that's not what I asked for. Let me just say that. Let me just say that I did not ask for this. All that said, I'm not going to gripe. What do you guys think? You like it? Oh, man. So it's good to see you guys, man. What's up, E-Rock? Derek's here. Derek and Eagle Fang and Jeremy were in here early. Kyle Ornsby's here. Frank Markopoulos, what's up, buddy? We got the liberal Irishman back. Good to see you, man. Stephen Engel. Yeah, man. It's nice to see you guys. Duncan McLean's here. Who else we got in here? Nobody. Derek, I said, yep, hello. Yeah, I think that's Jeremy Kravat. I said hello to Jeremy. Hello, Jeremy. Joseph Schwert. Let's go Islanders indeed, my friend. Let's go Islanders. Yeah, so anyway, it's good to see you guys, man. I spent a large chunk of the day listening to the, the press conferences. The one I liked in particular was Mike LaFleur. Have you guys been able to catch Mike LaFleur's press conference, I guess we'll call it? Media availability. Thank you, Mitt Flair. I appreciate it. Yeah, you think I'm 15 years younger, E-Rock? Well, thank you. Thank you, sir. Maybe that guy, sometimes what's the saying? God does for us what we can't do for ourselves. I was never going to let go of my longer hair. It took me, 16, 18 months to grow it. I didn't want to cut it off in one 20-minute session. You know what I mean? I got a little bit. See, I got a little bit back here. But I'm in danger of a mullet. So, but thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, Steven. All right. Yeah. I know. He asked me if I wanted him to touch. I said, no. No one touches the beard. I do the beard. He said, no, I could blend. I said, no, you're good. See, because the thing is I drive around, I travel, as you guys know. So I don't have a barber anymore. I don't have somebody that I trust. I just have to, take a shot. You know, I read reviews and shit. Did you guys ever see my haircut that I got in my first haircut in Charlottesville was so bad I had to stop the guy midway through. Did I ever show you guys that? And then we'll get into some Jet shit. Fear the Beard, Carmelo, what's up, buddy? Thomas Hewitt, thank you, sir. Yo, you guys calling me younger? That's really nice. You guys are okay, man. Thomas Hewitt, yeah, sure, right. Nobody messes with the Bean's beard. That's right, man. It is. That's my whole thing now, right? I don't know how that happened. It just kind of became my thing. Fucking big white beard. Let me see if I can show you guys something. I had such a bad haircut. I don't do Yelp reviews. I've done like 3 in my whole life. Right? Let me see if this, let me sign in as this person, let me see if I can do this. And I'm going to see, I could just do this though. Hold on. Cavalier Barber Shop, Charlottesville. And when you go to Yelp for a Cavalier Barbershop, the first thing you see is my head. At least that's the way it used to be. Let me see here. Oh, they might have. Yep. No, they put up another review. Finally, it was like that for years. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys just so you can see this. Okay. You want to talk about a bad haircut. Now, let me just tell you, I'm going to preface this with a little bit. I didn't have long hair yet, but I didn't want it buzzed. I don't want that. I said like a number 2 on the sides, and I just like a short scissor cut. I'm real simple, right? So watch what this guy did to me. Hold on here, and you got to. I literally stopped it halfway through. Okay, so let me see. Can you guys see this? Let me see here. Let me see what you can see. Yeah, there you go. Okay, let me get to some pictures here. Where are they? No, let me see the pictures. So this is my head, okay? This is the front of it. All right, so you can see all the uneven. That's literally lower than, he did that with scissors. It felt like my mother, but watch this one. This is my head. He did this with scissors, guys. That wasn't even a buzzer. This is what he was doing to my head with scissors. I felt it. Like my hair, my back was to the mirror. You know how they spin chairs and stuff these days? In the olden days, you just sat in a barber's chair and you looked at your face the whole time. Now they spin you all around and everything. So this guy had my back to the mirror, and this is what he was doing to my head. And you see all like the loose hair. Look at that, man. Look at that shit. That's my head. So I wrote an amazingly glowing Yelp review as soon as I had to shave my head. I was an executive director for a multi-million-dollar company at the time. I had to shave my head and go back to fucking work. Like they were like, "What happened to you?" So there's that. There's that. So let's see what you guys. Yeah, thank you, Jet Life. I appreciate it. Dubois, it's good to see you. Welcome, Kevin Sains. Yeah. So anyway, I know, you know what's funny, Gitmo Bob. That's a good thing to say because I was thinking of the Feeney mullet just today when my wife said that. I was thinking like I was comparing it to my brain to him. That's exactly what I was thinking because I got nervous. You know, I wanted this like, dude, is it a mullet? But it's not a mullet. It's not a mullet. Yeah, Jeremy. So this is a good one. Let's start with this real quick. And if I didn't say hello to you, if I missed you, I apologize. We'll get there, man. You know, we have time tonight, and I'll tell you a few things. The person whose comment is on the screen right now, Mr. Jeremy Kravat, is going to join us at 9 p.m. He won a little contest on Instagram. He won a contest on Instagram. I put up a little drawing, and I said, guess where this is from? Now, he didn't know where it was from, but he guessed every single possibility, and by default, he got it. So nobody else guessed it. So he'll be joining us at 9 p.m., and we'll have some fun with him. How can you not love the history of LaFleur and Salah? So in the Mike LaFleur presser, it was really cool, man. Like they asked him about
the relationship with Robert Saleh and his brother and all that. And he went back to say, like, when his brother and Saleh were assistants at the same time, they used to live kind of close by to his mother's, to Mike LaFleur's mother's, and his brother Matt LaFleur is 8 years older, so he always looked up to him and Saleh and everything. But he said they used to come by the house because they were broke. They weren't making any money as assistants, you know. So they used to come by and like eat mom's cooking, you know, like she would cook for them and stuff. They had no money, so they would like hang out at the house. And he said like Saleh was somewhat of like an older brother to him. He was this very respected man in his life. And he watched him and his brother kind of climb through the ranks and how hard they worked. And it was really cool to hear, man. I mean, it wasn't like a documentary or anything. He spoke about it for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, but it was really, really cool to hear. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that was the first time that we really got access to Mike LaFleur outside of a few blurbs. And it was really cool to listen to him, man. And let me tell you, for the first time in a really long time, like with respect to Rex and some of his staff, I didn't even feel like this then either. I always felt like there was we were a minute or two away from a gaffe. You know, I always felt like they were going to say something stupid or whatever. I didn't care because they were winning and I knew that on the football field they were fine. But this is the first time that like anybody on the staff who goes before the cameras, you know, the press and everything, not only do they not make a fool of themselves, but they don't look novice. And they're very communicative. Like, so they have the ability to communicate to the press their ideas. They can answer the questions. It's not a snide little, you know, like, you know, Bowles would be like, no, or something like that. Or Gase with his little, you know, his comments. And like for the past, even just Gase and Bowles, for the past 6 years, guys, we have had staff that couldn't even deal with a press conference correctly. They couldn't do it. So how are we to believe that they could actually communicate with their players? You know what I mean? How could we believe that they're in a room full of type A men, some of them multi-millionaires, who really, they're not just going to respect you because you're the coach. How are they supposed to be in the room and command respect from these guys who are supposed to be putting their bodies on the line when they can't even communicate to the press? So Mike LaFleur was just the latest for me in our staff being able to really convey with clarity what it is that they're trying to accomplish. And one of the main things that he said, man, which made me so happy, he's like, you know, he talked about, so I think the question was about Corey Davis. And he said, you know, there's people say Corey Davis is kind of like made for this system and blah, blah. And he went on to say, like, listen, Corey Davis has the skill set that he could succeed anywhere. It just so happens that this particular system does need that type of a player. So he's going to do well in this system. It's kind of made for him, but it's not the system that's going to make him. But he said, what we do is we look at the players and create the system. Like the basis of the system is intact. It goes way back to Mike Shanahan. You know, so it's the core principles of the system are fine, but he tailors the offense to the players, man. Like, I mean, look, and we've talked about this so much over the years. Like, really, we've talked about it ad nauseum. But it's like, to actually hear it and then not just hear it, but believe it. To me, man, it's incredible. It's just an incredible thing to hear. And to, like, when you look at it, like, he passes the eyeball test. Like, you know, when you're listening to a coach, like I could recall Casey Rogers, the defensive coordinator under Todd Bowles. Dude, every time he spoke, it felt like he was trying to talk his way out of a bad question. Like, that's every time he spoke, I felt like that with him. I never felt like he was able to get his point across. I never felt like he knew what he was talking about. Mike LaFleur, the first time I really heard him for a length of time was this press conference. I think it was from like 4 days ago. I was like, yeah, man, finally. somebody who's young, up and coming, just all the right tutelage, coming out of the correct system, like knows what he's talking about and can communicate. It seems, right? It's like, it's not rocket science, but guys, we have been in such a bad place for so long. Like Mike McCagnon literally didn't know what he was doing. He wouldn't even let the coaches and scouts talk because he didn't want to be he didn't want the wires to get crossed, and because he was afraid to be exposed. Gase was the same way. They didn't want to be exposed. Why do you think there's no offensive coordinator in the house? Fucking Dowell Loggins? Because he didn't want to be exposed. If he would have brought in somebody like a Kyle Shanahan or whoever, they'd be like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. This is not correct. And he didn't want that around. Low self-esteem, Well, get more Bob. I think Gase may have been on a drug or two. Let's be real here. Like, you guys know what I've done for the last, 16, 17 years of my life. And then before that, my own life. I can spot drug use. And let me tell you, man, on more than one occasion, but one in particular, I was like, there's no way he's not on something. Or he's completely psychotic. It's one or the other. What's up, Holton? Good to see you. Scott Wilson, what's up, buddy? So let me see what you guys are talking about. Right, Jeremy, intelligent and well-spoken. They remind me of GreenBean. Oh, shucks. I'll tell you. Right, E-Rock. It really feels like they have a solid plan and know what they are doing. Right, man. Like they have a plan and they're instituting it. Like, so Robert Saleh said in one of his pressers, he said, they're like, well, what do you want to see from Zach Wilson? He's like, the same thing I want to see from everybody. I just want them to acclimate themselves with the verbiage and the installs. Like, that's all, the formations. That's all I want to see. So this is their introduction to it, and then the next voluntary, that's the second time they'll hear it. And then mini camp is the third time they'll hear it. And then training. I just want to get them acclimated to the verbiage. That's all I'm trying to do right now. All the past, it's all great. I just want to introduce these concepts to them. I want them to get to know each other. That's what he said. It's like, there's a plan here, man. They know what they're doing. They're starting from the ground floor. It's like Mike LaFleur said about Zach Wilson. He said, every time he's like trying to tell him stuff, Zach Wilson said, no, I can figure that out on my own. The formations I can figure out on my own. I want to know the stuff that I can't figure out on my own. And he's like already trying to push LaFleur into giving him more, but he's like, he has to keep him slow and steady because they have a system. It's like, just slow down. I hear you, man. You can consume as much as you want to consume, but let's slow down. Just let me teach you the way we're going to teach you. So it's a very strong positive for Zach Wilson, but on the same token, it's an incredible positive that our coaching staff knows what they're doing. It's not a random bunch of, horse crap out there. That was a good sip of water. I didn't know how thirsty I was. I know, right, Frank? I feel the exact same way. Every time I look at these guys, I listen to them, I read whatever, is written or an interview or whatever it is, man. And I haven't been rubbed the wrong way yet. And look, to be clear, it's not like I'm always in danger of like trying to look at it through colored glasses. You know how it is. You guys know. But I really don't think that's the case. Now, the other negative thing is that we've been so low on the spectrum that things like we're going to create an offense for the players we have sounds like, it sounds like Einstein's talking. You know what I mean? Because we've been so bad. It's so bad. Let's see here. Change is good, Tom Bon Jovi. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. All right, let me get down here. GreenBean just bought a Colts helmet signed by Johnny Unitas, huh? James Minks. Very interesting. What'd that run you? What'd that run you, man? I'm curious. Full size helmet or what? Oh yeah, Derek. So this is funny. This is a funny story. Now, Derek, I'm going to give you the opportunity to kind of explain what had happened. But Derek, Samini's doing his Samini thing, right? And he's talking. I'll try to paraphrase it, but Derek, if you could give us a nice long comment of what exactly how it happened from your perspective. But it's funny. It's funny, and he sent it to me, and I saw it. It's good. So Samini's, he's they were doing some sort of rollouts or something, and he asked the question like, or made the insinuation that Zach Wilson is going to be. Are they doing that because Zach Wilson is going to have to get used to running all day? And it's like just that. It's like, why? What is that? And like so Derek called him out on it online, and the guy actually responded. He responded to Derek, and he said, "Well, no, I'm talking about sweeps and this and that and rollouts, and he's not." See, that's the thing with a guy like Samini is that he has that woven into his bullshit. Is that he's prepared for like if there's backlash, he knows how to. It's like always like a little double entendre going on. You know what I mean? They call that double speak. That's rich. So where's Derek? Let's see. I'm getting gas. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. So Derek, like he said, fans need to get used to Zach Wilson throwing on the run. And like, so what do you think he's saying? So Derek basically, let's see. So Derek said, I wanted to check him and make sure it's not a slight to the O-line, which it was. Fans have to get used to Zach Wilson throwing on the run. Now, when Derek called him out on it, what he said was, no, I'm talking about the fans getting used to this type of offense with design rollouts and blah, blah, blah. So full of shit. But that's good, man. That's why I'm glad you guys are out there. That's the thing. Like for so long, we just kind of listened to these guys and they just talked and shit on us and spit in our faces over and over and over and over again. And it's at a point right now, it's like, dude, we're telling you, like, if social media is going to be where you hang out, like, we're going to tell you the truth. Like, that's baloney right there, what you said. Now, is it the biggest deal in the world? No, but it's a consistent theme that we're constantly having to deal with. Douchebaggery, right? Like Stephen Engel said, douchebaggery indeed. So there that is. Exactly. Like Derek said. So to the average fan, what it's saying is our O-line sucks. Now, to talk about our O-line for a second, I'm going to tell you right now that I'm not trying to put out there that we're going to be the most like we have a chance to be the top 3 O-line in the league. Like that's not what I'm saying. But the idea that we're going to be 2019 bad, like that's no longer the case. Like Becton and AVT on the left with McGovern returning to form, which I absolutely have confidence that he's going to. Fant played fine on the right side, and it was his first year as a starting right tackle, and he played fine. He's only going to get better. He's not an old player. A lot of Jets fans likes to give up on guys real quick, but if you look at a lot of guys who've been here and left, like they've went on to have great careers for the team that gave them a year or two. So I think Fant is fine. Our right tackle position, I really got to say, that's the one that scares me a little bit, of course. But I'm not as nervous as maybe I should be. Maybe let's say it like that. I'm not as nervous as I should be. But the idea that there's a competition between like Van Roten, Alex Lewis, and Cam Clark, like there's nothing wrong with that. Like seeing which one of your guys actually can do it before you use another piece on the position, and you have the other 4 guys. The other 4 guys are there. And then you have a Wesco you can put in fullback or tight end if guys need help. You know what I mean? Like we have the options, and competition is what you want. Like even, did you guys hear about Moses, the right tackle from the Washington football team being brought in, who I talked about last year, the Jets potentially trying to get last offseason. He's a pretty good right tackle, man. I actually like him a whole bunch. And so they brought him in for a visit, and everybody started talking about, not everybody, but a lot of people started talking about that it really means that Joe Douglas and staff aren't digging Fant that much. And I don't see it that way. I think it's just like, dude, we are in the infancy of the new New York Jets, and competition is king. Anytime that somebody comes in and thinks the job is theirs, by default, it's a negative. Now, it might work out, sure, but it's a negative. Guys should have to come in every year and work for their spot. That's the way. That's how Parcells was every year. You got to work for it. Obviously, guys like Lawrence Taylor and all, there was a bunch of guys that superseded that. But overall, if you were coming on the team, you had to play, man. You had to work at it. You had to win. You had to clearly be the best at your position. And I love it, man. I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing in competition. So that said, in summation, I think that this offensive line is going to be top 15-esque. That's where I think we are. Top 15, we'll have really good weeks. We'll have little slips and stuff like that. But I think we're going to be in the middle of the pack. That's what I think, which would be amazing, especially with the weapons that we have. Dude, there's some exciting things, guys. Well, the thing is, Jeremy, is that a lot of people say that, but Fant has never played guard. He's never played on the inside. He's huge, number one. He's athletic enough to play on the outside. He's played tight end, let's not forget. So he was going the other way, with athleticism. Could he played in a pinch? I'm sure, but that's not really an idea I think would be considered unless there was an emergency. I think we have a bunch of guards in the house. We have Dan Feeney. We have Alex Lewis. We have Greg Van Roten. And we have Cam Clark. We have a bunch of guys in the house. All of them are capable of winning the job. Dan Feeney was a starter in the league. Alex Lewis was a starter. Van Roten was a starter. And Cam Clark was a 4th-round pick. Right tackle. Move to guard. Yeah, Frank. And that's good. So that's the thing, too, is that it all depends, too. Don't forget, the quarterback and the system can help the O-line too. That's one of those things. It's there are so many layers to how bad our team really was and how bad it was led. We never utilized the strengths, but another thing that we never did was we never worked to cover weaknesses. We never skewed the offense to cover a weakness by using a strength. We never did that. It's the game in 2019. We won 3 games in a row. 2 of them we had 34-point games. And it just might look like we were coming out of the dark here. We go into Cincinnati, the abysmal worst run defense in the entire NFL, and we passed the whole game. And when we ran it into the strength of their defense, which was their run defense, which was the nose tackle. Every time. And that's what Bell was talking about. So it's when you have an offensive mind that goes, okay, well, here's one of our little weaknesses. So here's what I could do to cover that up a little bit. And what Frank is talking about, Wilson getting rid of the ball lightning quick will make the line look better, right? If he doesn't need, 4 seconds back there, look, with all respect to Sam, it was one of the things. How many times last year did you go, throw it? Throw it. Right? He holds the ball. No, he wasn't always like that. Sam got damaged here. I don't doubt that for 1 second, man. But what Frank is saying is absolutely right, man. You design the play. If you have a little bit of a weakness on on the interior of your O-line, you don't ask them to work harder than they need to. So you can have some fucking long Robbie Anderson, developing play for 80 yards. That's not what you do. But I think, and it's a good one. Ron Luizo says the offensive line will play well for Zach. Now, I think that's the case. I really do. But I think one of the things I'm really liking about this period in time right now is that it's looking like our team is really working hard on becoming a team, right? Like it was so fragmented for so long. We had these camps, you know, Jamal Adams, we need more dogs. The other guys, who the fuck's a dog? And you had Tremaine Johnson. You had all these guys, but nobody seemed cohesive. It never seemed to be like they were a team. It was just a bunch of people, right? This, and it seems like the Jets are doing a good job of kind of promoting this and pushing them together. And it's all about them feeling accountable to one another. Like, I will go down for you because I know you would do it for me. You know what I mean? So I think that's a really big difference. You know, it's not to say that the guys didn't try to play hard and on an individual basis, but they knew, number one, this team's not going anywhere. Number two, most of these players on the field with me are they're playing 50% because they don't want to get hurt for this guy. They want this year to be over, collect their money, and move on. So I agree, Ron. I do. Let's see what we got here. James, did you tell us? I mean, let me see. Oh, 900. Wow, man. Full size helmet. There you go. Good for you, James. Congratulations, my man. Congratulations, my man. I said that wrong. Yeah, that's super cool. And now you have the guy that they tried to throw in at the end of Super Bowl III to save the day and couldn't. That's fantastic. That's a beauty, I bet. If you have, I don't know if you can put pictures in this chat, but I'd love to see it someday. So, John Heibendahl, thank you for the super chat, man. Love you, bro. I hear CJM is active and doing good. Hoping, CJ Mosley, right? Okay. Hoping something special from our team this year. Very excited. Let's go. Yeah, dude. Well, look, in CJ Mosley's presser, one of the things that he said was, it just feels good to be out here again. Word is he's working hard. He's not like kind of sloshing around, and, you know, he's not doing that. So listen, man, if CJ Mosley comes back and plays to 80% of who he was at his peak, he's still one of the better inside linebackers in the league. Dude, it's gonna add a whole bunch to this defense. Predominantly, our defense is exceedingly young. You look, right, just look at who, like, we have the old men are Carl Lawson. Then you have Vinnie Curry, who's a longtime vet. You got Carl Lawson, Marcus May, who, like, John Franklin Myers is a couple years. Nathan Shepard is a few years. Quinnen Williams going into year 3. Right? You got Vinnie Curry. So Blair's a 5th year, right? Isn't he a 5th or 6th year? Blair, the guy we just signed from the Niners. I think so. But dude, CJ Mosley, like, that's like, everybody on our team is incredibly young. So if CJ Mosley can come back and he's excited, like Salah's got him all pumped up, and the schemes are, you know, really intact, and he's got young guys around him. Let's say he has, so you got Jared Davis, and let's say Jamie and Sherwood are the starters outside of him. You got, you know, 2 young guys in Mosley in there, who's not old. He's going into his 6th year, 7th year, 6th year, right? 7. He's going into his 7th year, I believe, CJ Mosley. And you have that young defensive line in front of you, guys like Quinnen Williams, like, John Franklin Myers. You got Fadukasi, all these guys. You got the Zunigas, the Huffs. You got, dude, we are a very, our cornerbacks, Bryce Hall, Blasan Austin, Michael Carter II, Jason, Pinnock, Eccles. We have such a young team. It's really incredible, man. Sheldon Rankins, right? Sheldon Rankins might be the oldest one outside of Vinnie Curry, right? Let me see something. He's 27. Sheldon Rankins is 27. Let me see. Vinny Curry is 32. So he's the old head. Carl Lawson. $25, dude. You know what I mean? Carl Lawson, our big free agent acquisition, is 25 years old. You know what they call that, guys? They call that entering his prime. That's the prime. And then don't forget, man, we got guys like Nazrul Dean running around out there. Rashid, the undrafted free agent like Huff last year. These guys are gems, man. These guys are gems. Yeah, right, Frank? I heard some of that today, or what? Yeah, today. Was it yesterday maybe? That there were some 49ers fans I came across that were like, dude, that sucks. He's like one of those guys that, you know, it's like what Saleh said about him. Saleh raved about him, and he said he's the guy that doesn't get all the big gaudy numbers, but he's the guy that makes the whole engine work, and everybody knows it. It's crazy. It's crazy that we got him. Let me see here. Ronnie Blair. Ronald Blair is 28 years old. Dude, our team is young, man. Our team is young, guys. But thanks, John. Yeah, I actually agree, man. I think CJ Mosley is, dude, if we get him back, and like what better coach to bring in if getting CJ Mosley back to his form and like reigniting that fire, as he said, what better coach than Robert Saleh? It's literally a best case scenario. Right, Eric. So going back to the point we were making about the team chemistry thing, like Eric said, GreenBean, the Islanders game showed us all that. Yeah. It's a good point, man. Dude, you see it. You just see it. It looks different, doesn't it? Instead of Jamal Adams wearing a sharp suit with a bunch of gold rings and stuff, instead of him alone at a whatever, it's like 12 guys wearing Islanders jerseys. Incredible. Okay. It's incredible, man. It's incredible. UNITY. That doesn't work, Jamie. I'm trying to make it work over here in my head. It doesn't work. Oh, so I didn't ask you. How's my internet, man? Is it okay? Is it okay? Make sure I'm not burning. How's my sound and how's my video? I meant to ask you guys that in the beginning, but I didn't. So how are we doing? I'm in a place with very, very spotty internet. I actually turned down a couple interviews for that exact reason. Very good. Oh, good. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, E-Rock. Thank you, Frank. And I'm not going to mess with nothing. I'm not messing with anything. Thank you, Robert. Okay, good. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Blair is a disruptor and rotational player. Saleh said he'd like him to be a coach someday. Yeah. So it's one of those guys that just knows what he's talking about, knows what he's doing, knows what the defense is supposed to do. Saleh was saying he's one of those guys that puts guys in position, all that stuff. Knows how to adjust from what he sees. All that stuff, man. Dude, we're stacking it up, man. It's nice to see, like, you know, a lot of us, we tend to think that the offseason is like over, right? After, you know, you have free agency, then you have the draft, and then it's just kind of like, okay, well, this is our team. This is who we got. And I think in large part that's accurate, but like the Jets are showing us right now, like that's not the case. Our ear is still to the ground. And if there's a way to bring in a guy that we think can compete, then we're going to do it. I think Blair is a fantastic grab, man. I really do. I think it's fantastic. No freeze bean. Nice, Gitmo Bob. Yeah, Scott, tonight is the guest host. He's actually in there right now. He's sitting there. I see him. He's early. We'll bring him in a few minutes. But he's in there. He's ready. He's in the chat too, so he's all over the joint. But right, Scott, definitely tonight. We'll see how it goes. Let's see. Really, the best. Joseph Schwartz said it's the best internet I've ever had. All right, I'm going to stop talking about it then. Thank you, guys, because you guys know how bad it can get over here. It's crazy. So I'm just outside of Poughkeepsie, a little outside, maybe like a half hour, something like that, outside of 45 minutes outside of Poughkeepsie. I'm right near Minnesota State Park and Preserve. You guys know where that is? So by Kingston and Marbletown, that's where I am. And this weekend, I'm heading over to Lake Compounce to ride Boulder Dash, and then I'm going to Six Flags New England, and then I head up to Maine. So we're rocking, man. What's up, Mikey Mouse? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, we're getting there. We'll get some wings. Let's see. We keeping some cap money for 2022. I think it's like the good news with where we are now. We don't have that much cap space left. We have just about 23 million, isn't it? Right. Let's take a look at over the cap. New York Jets. So I think we have about 23 million cap space. Let's see. 27. It says we have about 27 million right now. We have $21 million in dead cap money. Thanks, McCagnon. That's what's going on right now. It's crazy. So we have about 27 million. Only some of the less expensive draft picks have signed. Like all the big dogs, we still got to sign all them. So we need about, what'd they say? They estimated anywhere from 12 to 15. So that leaves us with 12 million. It's not that much. Like, so when guys start talking about like Nelson and what the fuck's his name? I can't believe I'm spacing out. Sherwood? Why am I want to Sherwin Williams? That guy, the cornerback. What's wrong with me? Sherman. Oh my God, Sherwin Williams. So like, look, they're saying that his expected rate is anywhere between $9 and $11 million, what I think is crazy. I wouldn't want to pay him $10 million, would you? So, but let's say we do, or Nelson, like, dude, that's it. That's everything. It's the whole nut. Now we still got guys we can cut, and we have flexibility, but it's like we're not like overloaded with cap space. So if Joe Douglas keeping this prudent reserve, let's call it, in case we need somebody, like Frank Gore or Le'Veon Bell, they're all still out there, right? What if we need one of those guys? So we keep it as a prudent reserve, and in the event we need somebody, we use it. But if we don't, there's nothing wrong with rolling it over till 2022, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? Yeah, Sherman. What's up, Boy Green's here. What's up, Paul? What are you doing? You guys know Boy Green from Twitter and from his fantastic podcast, The Jet Zone. It's good to have you here, Paul. I think this is the first time. Thanks for stopping by, man. How's my internet? They're telling me my internet's good. Remember, I was just telling you yesterday? I'm like, I don't know, man. I have tonight I'm using Cricket Wireless. So hey, if this is a Cricket town, let it be a Cricket town, right? I have it. I have Cricket, I have AT&T, I have T-Mobile, I have Verizon. I have a Verizon hotspot on my phone. I have a Verizon Wi-Fi or MiFi, got all kinds of good stuff. All kinds of good stuff. Isn't Boy Green the best, Darren? I'm telling you. Yeah, he's great. Paul Esden Jr., who I just learned today is a 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo. Who knew? Who knew? I saw you breaking those boards, man. I was like, oh, man, and I was going to talk shit. So you never know. You never know who you're talking to. Right? You never know who you're talking to, man. I learned that a long time ago. Don't think, stop acting so tough. You don't know what that guy's got in the bag. You know what I mean? So like Paul Esden Jr., you're like, hey, man, that's Boy Green. You're all a little drunk and you start talking shit. He could literally jump in the air, spin around like Neo in the Matrix and kick your nose off your face. I don't know. I don't want that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to talk shit to Paul. Yeah, man. Paul Esden Jr., one of the best, man, in my opinion. I love him. I've been listening to him for a while, and it's religious for me. Every podcast, I have a group of podcasts I listen to, and Paul is one of them. Paul, O'Leary, I try to listen to Cool Your Jets when I can. They're not in every week, but I listen to them often as well. And then like Coaster Radio and shit like that. I only have so much time in the day. You guys know. So what's up, Seiron? It's good to see you, man. So let's see. Boy Green does a lot of great interviews on his show. Would recommend. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Paul, you can write it in here. I'll give you a plug. He just got the official Jets writing gig, like as the Jets beat writer for, I forget what it is. But congratulations, man. Truly. I know you're happy about it, and it's a big deal. So good for you. If you want to write it in there and let everybody know where you're writing, by all means, you can stick the link in there or any plug you want to. Please do. Please do. So let's see real right. I agree, James. I don't see that's the thing. Like if Sherman wanted to come and he was like, hey, like he can't get a gig anywhere else. He's like, all right, I'll come there. And it's like a $5 million 1 year thing. Like that to me is worth it for what I'm looking to bring him in for. Like, I don't want Sherman to take away time from the young guys. I just don't. I want, like, this isn't our Super Bowl year to me. And it's not to say I don't want him, but for me, it's like we have such a stable of young guys that are going to need the playing time on one hand, but number two, we want to see how are they developing. And if Sherman's on the field, he's not the long-term answer. Then you're not seeing a guy like Pinnock or Eccles or, whoever, or Blesson Austin, who we've seen. But in this system, you never know, man. With a pass rush, you never know. Blesson Austin and Bryce Hall, who I love, they might be good enough with the actual pass rush. Not to say you don't always look to upgrade, but anyway, I don't see the same urgency. I think if we were like a cornerback away from like our legit, championship caliber team, yeah, I'd feel pressure, but I don't this year. I don't. So we are about 5 or 6 minutes away from bringing on Mr. Jeremy Kravat, the contest winner on my Instagram page. I'm going to have more of those. They're fun, man. I like contests. I just don't have anything to give you guys except this. This is it. I know the t-shirts. I had a t-shirt company making my t-shirts, and I was all ready to put out the stuff, I got a couple like samples from them. We washed them 2, 3, 4 times, and they're destroyed. Like I can't have you guys paying money for a shirt that you washed 3 times and it's a rag. Like I just don't want that for you guys. I know Greg Tarr and I are still. Remember last week we were talking about. We were talking about going over to the ESPN offices in Bristol, Connecticut, which I'll be there this weekend, but we couldn't get it together in time. But we're still working on gathering up some Jets fans and going right to their office and protesting. They're protesting their treatment of Jets fans. What do you think of that? All right, there it is, Paul, real quick. Here's Paul Esden Jr.'s Boy Green, of course. Podcast is called The Jet Zone. You can find that wherever you find podcasts. And Jake Aspin is a good friend. Right. I wanted to say but that's, of course, his podcast. But he also got a writing gig as well. I just forget the name of the place. Forgive me, man. But anyway, Boy Green's the shit. He's the best. Your Raiders. Well, hey, what's up, Raider Carlos? How you doing? Let me ask you, like, serious question. Are you happy? Are you happy with what's going on over there? I think I don't know. I thought you guys would be a little bit ahead of where you are. And Gruden's, what is it? It's going into his 4th year, right? I think a lot of people thought you guys might be a little bit ahead. How do you feel, man? I love having other fans, as long as you're not here to, Jets suck, and that's and we got to get rid of you. But it's like, if you want to talk football, you're welcome here, man. You're welcome. Right, E-Rock? I know I have some Raiders fans that I know, and they're all a little bit frustrated right about now. So you said we actually have a defense. All right. What do you think of your draft? Your draft was a little wacky again. So that's concerning. Sometimes I don't know, like the Raiders all the way through history, like, how we have, like, it doesn't matter who the Jets coach is, doesn't matter who the GM is, like we do the same type of stupid things over and over and over and over again. The Raiders do the same type of stuff with the draft. They've done it since the beginning of time. Like they're always going to take the guy that doesn't make sense right there. Not that the player's bad, but like a 1st-round pick on a kicker, as great as he is. Darius Hayward-Bay way earlier than he should have been taken. Even last year, Ruggs as the first wide receiver off the board just didn't, as much as Ruggs is a good wide receiver, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense. And then, like, obviously taking Cleveland Farrell at 4. No, I do not think that was good. Leatherwood, right? That was another shock. Yeah. So you like the Leatherwood pick? I think that was another one that was surprising. It was early for him. Although I do like Leatherwood, but he has some issues, man. He has some issues. But so you're happy with him, so that's good. We got Morig, the number 1 guy we needed in the 2nd round. Okay. So you're happy. That's good then, man. You love the draft. That's good. See, then it's good, man. As long as you're happy, right, man? Like if you feel like they're moving in the right direction, I think they've made a lot of very questionable moves. And I want to like Gruden, little Chucky. But it seems interesting. Right, exactly, Frank. That's the thing with reaches, right? Is that really when it comes down to it, when we're like evaluating the draft and all that stuff, everybody, reach and all that stuff, it applies. But 2, 3, 5 years later, nobody cares that you reached 18 spots for a tackle if he works out. No one cares. It's just when you're looking at it through that like microcosm, like it's like the over analytical period that is draft analysis week. That, that whole period, it's like you overanalyze every detail. I would have traded back 2 spots and taken them there. It's like, okay, if you like them, Raider Carlos, then that's good. That's good. Yeah, I think Raider Carlos is all right. I think he's okay. Let's be nice to him. So let's bring, let me see 1 second, and then I'm going to bring Jeremy on. I want to talk about a few things. I want to talk about Le'Veon Bell real quick. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get Jeremy's opinion on that. And then a couple other topics. So, I want to talk about Michael Carter II and Michael Carter I, interestingly enough. So why don't we do that just to prep you guys on what it is that we're going to get into a little, what the direction I'd like it to go. It doesn't mean anything. We could be talking about bubble machines in 10 minutes for all I know. But that's the direction I'd like to see it go. There's some excitement about the 2 Michael Carters for very similar reasons, but let's bring Jeremy on and see what he's got. Huh? You guys ready for Jeremy Kravat? One of your own. Here he comes. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? One of your own. 40 years, man. Been waiting 40 years for them to win.
40 years. So you've been how old? Can I ask how old you are?
I'm 50. So,
You're
and
50.
I got, yes. Yeah. Well, thanks. Shaving the hair helps. But,
Yeah, that's right. That's the trick.
but yeah, I was about 5th grade. The first year I got into them was the year before the Mud Bowl when they were, I think it was a wild card game. Richard Todd, of course, it was like foreshadowing through an interception, like at the end of the game. They were close driving to win that wild card game. He threw an interception and broke our heart. And that was the moment. That was the moment I emotionally became like a very strong Jets fan through heartbreak.
It's funny. No, that's not an uncommon story, man. It's like for some reason, a lot of the times when I talk to other Jets fans, like the big moment that happened to make us Jets fans was something painful. Just me, it was the Mud Bowl. I was a little kid. I was 10, and I watched that game, and I watched the Miami fans being like mean. They were just being loud and boisterous. I was at a place with my aunt, and I remember thinking like, I hate those. I hate the Dolphins, and I love the Jets. It happened through pain. Isn't that weird? I think it's actually a disorder. It might be a mental issue we have.
Well, being a Mets fan and a Jets fan and a Rangers fan, especially when I grew up, the Islanders are winning cups and I'm rooting for the Rangers. I mean, I was just a glutton for punishment.
Yep. So you became a fan, 5th grade. You're in this thing 40 years or so, just like me. I'm 38 years and counting in this thing. So you saw all the Rich Kotite. You saw all those years where we were just kind of laughable. Wasn't this last period of time, this Adam Gase, do you think it was worse like I do, or do you think the Kotite years still have it on the Adam Gase era?
I think that, well, for some reason, maybe because I'm older, I mean, Gase is the worst, but it went by faster because the years go by faster when you're older. It just seems like it seemed like the Kotite years lasted forever. It felt like it was such, when you're younger, time is longer. So it was just like, when is this ever going to end?
It's funny, Jeremy. Last year for Jetnation, we had this idea that I would live stream for all the games. So last year we did this, and I was traveling all over the country. And I'm going to tell you right now, last year would have been the perfect year for me to have an excuse just to like turn the Jets off. But I was locked into this live streaming, so I had to sit there and publicly watch every snap of that atrocious. I think that's why I really know how bad it is. I watched every play of this last year, and it was bad, man. So moving on from that, man, real quick, what are your thoughts on Le'Veon Bell? I know we've talked about it a little bit on YouTube and stuff. It looks like you may have seen the video that I made, but having some time to think about it, like, do you think the Le'Veon Bell thing, do you think he's right? You think he should have shut up? Where do you come on this one?
Well, I mean, I think he should shut up. And, I agree with what you said. It's like, I could talk about, my brother once said that to somebody who was like picking on me. He said, my brother got in his face and threw him on the ground and said, look, if you touch my brother, I'll kill you. And then guy looks up and goes, but you're hitting him all the time. And he goes, well, he's my brother. I could hit him, but you can't. It's that same feeling, right? I think Le'Veon Bell, it's more, he should be embarrassed. I miss the old school guys who cared about their careers and the legacy they left. And these guys, it's just about money and taking a year off and free, to me, it's just old news. It's like, okay, yeah, he's going to point fingers but really he's got himself to blame. He was in a great situation in a great system. He should have just kept putting up numbers and built a legacy.
And he was offered $14 million to stay as a running back. It's crazy in that system. In that system. Yeah, it's a funny thing because like something came out today with Frank Gore. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see that he's still ready to play, but he's waiting for the right system. That's what he said. And it's smart like, guy. Okay, man. Like, listen, both Le'Veon Bell and Frank Gore are not waiting for the right system. They're waiting for the phone call. That's what they're waiting for. Now, maybe they won't go to the Bengals or one of the teams that are chalked up to be a bad team. But I really don't think that either one of them is getting too many calls because, look, man, every year the NFL is inundated with a whole fresh crop of new, young, fresh running backs. Like 40 or something came into the NFL this year. And just like the year before and the year before. And guys like Frank Gore and Le'Veon Bell, it's like, why have them around? Do you agree?
It doesn't seem to make sense. It was the same thing. It's the same thing with Julio Jones almost. I mean, he's not as old as those guys and he's still got something left, but it's like, where are you as a team? And how many teams are in a place that benefit from having Frank Gore? He's a good player. I like the guy. He plays hard and everything and respect the career he had, but like, what's the situation you're in as a football team where that's an answer for you? And you know, unless you're bringing him into as a veteran guy to back up younger guys and be a role model or something.
Yeah, and that's about it. And it's like, what are they going to want? You know, like, what do you want? 4 million, 5 million, 10 million to do that? I think it's just like, it's one of those things. It's like, why even do it? You know, like a vet to back up your, you know, to do like what you're saying, somebody like 6 years, 5 years, 8 years, a guy like Frank Gore, dude, he's going into his 17th year. It's like, dude, come on already. Come on already, man. Let me acknowledge something. Hey, everybody in the chat, let's good stuff, but let's calm down. Let's leave the Raider fan. He came here in peace. We busted his chops a little bit. He busted ours a little bit. He seems like a good dude. Raider Carlos, he's our friend. Let's take it. Let's stop. Like I said, he didn't come here busting our balls. We know what a troll looks like. Oh man, it just started pouring on me. Can you hear that through the speaker?
I can hear the little tapping.
You can hear it? Oh man, I hope it's not too loud.
No, it's not bad. It's not that bad. You have to listen for it.
So what else we got here? So Le'Veon Bell, yeah, man. I think the problem with me and Le'Veon Bell was the fact that number one, he's saying it. Like, just say, yeah, man, it's rough. You know, it's rough out here. I had a rough couple of years with the Jets, whatever. Just don't say anything. Instead of arguing with Twitter, Jets fans on Twitter, about how bad the Jets were. Like, of course we're going to defend it. Just like you said, man. It's like, I can talk about it, but once you talk about it, I'm forced to defend it. Even though what you're saying might be correct. It might be right. Like running a halfback dive up the A gap every play isn't exactly an opportunity. And I get that. At the same time, why don't you shut the fuck up? Huh? How's that, Le'Veon Bell?
Well, what does he have to? What does he have to win? That's the, you know, it's like, why are you doing this? Like, you're gonna get into a social media fight. I mean, you got a big name. The people you're fighting with on Twitter have nothing to lose. You have everything to lose. It's your reputation. It doesn't make any sense.
I know. I think it's just one of those things where, dude, he's literally sitting at home. 2-3 years ago, he was considered a Hall of Fame candidate. Like, he was on that trajectory, and now he's a guy just a couple of years later who nobody's even calling. It's got to be tough. Like, if we look at it just on a man-to-man level, that's got to be a tough kick. Adam Gase is thorough when he destroys something, man.
That's the one thing he's good at, right?
Yeah, I think Adam Gase, I'm really curious to see where he pops up. Because, like, look, Mike Maccagnan has not been heard from since the moment we fired him. I have not heard a single peep. And every now and then I'll Google him or something, see if he's like, you know, Mike Maccagnan was at a gala, a charity event. Nothing. He's nowhere. He doesn't have a job as a scout. He's not an area scout. He's not a consultant. He's nothing. And it's like, for Adam Gase, I think it's a very similar thing. I don't know who can honestly touch him and not be like, it would be outweighed by the bullshit that they have to deal with him. You know, like all the questions, why would you hire Adam Gase? Well, it's just not worth it to hire a guy who's pretty much an asshole.
The only positive on his resume I can see is he didn't find a way to hurt Peyton. You know, like he didn't find a way to screw up Peyton Manning.
Yeah, man. It's incredible. You know, it's like, but Gase is so thoroughly bad at what he does. Like, he destroyed the Miami Dolphins, got rid of all the players, all the good players that they had, really almost ruined Devontae Parker's career, got rid of Jarvis Landry and Ajayi and all these great guys. And then he comes here and he does the same thing. Like, we were lower than we've ever been in our entire history. It's incredible. I can't see him getting hired anywhere. When there was all that talk of him going to Seattle, dude, I mean, nothing would have made me laugh harder, but I knew it was never. Just no way Pete Carroll's hiring him. I can't see it. For what? For what position?
It doesn't make any sense. I don't know, unless there's some things behind the scenes we don't know, but what could it be? I mean, he's done nothing but negative. I mean, it was the same thing when the Jets brought in Kotite. What's confused me was there were two things. First of all, I think he lost his last 7 games as the Eagles coach.
Yeah.
And then we brought him in. The other thing is what they once had like a mic'd up kind of thing. And I'll never forget it. I remember just even before he became the Jets coach, he just was, and I see it in the chat, he was such a schmuck. Just the things he was saying on the microphone, like on the sideline of the Eagles, I was like, this is a head coach. It was just, he was like a cheerleader. There was nothing about him. I was like, right away you could tell, why would anyone hire this guy as a coach?
Yeah. Well, and that was the one decision that our previous owner, Leon Hess, decided to come in and just do himself. He fired Pete Carroll and hired Rich Kotite the day or so after he was fired from the Eagles, because he remembered him as the offensive coordinator of the Jets. And he said, remember when Leon Hess, they asked him why he would do that? Like, why are you firing a young up-and-coming coach for Rich Kotite? He said, it's my team, and if I deserve some damn enjoyment from this team, and I'm doing what I want to do. I'm 90 years old. He was 86. He said, I'm maybe 87 years old. I can get some enjoyment. And that did not provide it. He had 2 of the worst years. By wins and losses, they were the worst years ever. And we won 4 games in 2 years. And it's even worse than that, because if you remember, the Pete Carroll, like the fake spike game was interesting, because when Pete Carroll was the coach, we were playing Miami for first place. We were 6-4 playing Miami for first place. We were up 24-6 in the fourth quarter. And then Marino came back and beat us with the fake spike. And then we did not win another game that year. We ended up 6-10. And then, so we lost all the rest of the games that year. And then we won 4 games in 2 years. So 4 games in 2.5 years. That's what Jets fans endured. Dude.
It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable.
And then Parcells comes in 9-7, 10 minutes later.
Right off the bat. Well, he was an amazing coach. What an amazing coach he was. But Hess was. Remember, I know a lot of people in the chat are younger than us. I don't know how many people know it or how true it was, but I remember at the time. Basically Hess moved us out of Shea because he didn't like the bathrooms.
Let me hold on a second. We're getting breaking news here. I don't believe this for a second. Hold on.
How could that be?
Adam Gase is the quarterback. No way, dude. Adam Gase is a former American football coach. That's what it says on Wikipedia. I trust Wikipedia invariably. Nope. It's not there.
There's no way.
Did Adam who is the what? Nope. I don't see it. That would be something, Sayron. Sayron's he's out of his mind tonight. You're on fire, buddy. What's up? Jets by Jimmy's in the house. What's up, dude?
Jets by Jimmy. You're the man. Yeah. He is the man.
He is. He's the best. What's up, Jimmy? Good to see you, bud. So Jimmy, as we know, is in the middle of a move. He's moving out of the great state of Idaho toward Indiana, I believe. Are you moving to Indiana? I think it's Indiana. So are you there yet, Jimmy? What's up? That's great. Moving's tough, man. Moving's tough. But it's good. It's fun. I just Googled it, Sayron. It says that he is not the coach of the Adam Gase. Look at this. What is this? This is 2019. Adam Gase says, I'm rich as fuck. When he replying to a fan. Oh, he's the best. It doesn't say. Let me see. Adam Gase. No, he's not. It doesn't say.
It would be all over the place.
It would be all over there's no way, Sayron, there's no way that could slip through us. There's just no way.
There's no possible way.
Jets by Jimmy just got moved in. Congratulations, my friend. That's good. I'm going to be hanging out with Jets by Jimmy. This is a good year, man. I got to finally meet Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7. I got to meet Matt O'Leary at Coney Island. And I almost met Gangrene David, too. It just didn't work out. And then I'm going to meet Jets by Jimmy in Indiana. We're going to go to a theme park together. Isn't that neat?
I'm bummed you're coming to California in, you said the winter, but like Great America in Santa Clara is never open in the winter. They're very seasonal. So I was
Really?
going to. I check. You could check too. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic and they haven't updated the website. I mean, it just when I look into the future calendar, it keeps saying closed. But I was definitely going to do the 2-hour drive.
Yeah,
I
well,
was
we'll
like, oh,
figure it.
when Greenie's there, I'm going. You know.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. I mean, I think California closed like all year, even Disneyland, like they weren't allowed to open anything. So they're just now opening stuff now. But generally speaking, they're a all year state for their theme parks. Like I know Magic Mountain's open all year. I don't know about that particular place though. You might be right there. I just don't know. But my assumption is that they're open all year, which is why I'm heading out there, man. You know, I gotta be able to. I gotta get on these things.
Yeah, I hope they are because the Great American Park, it's great. It's like Six Flags in Jersey. It's like it was a very similar park as far as its size, and it had a lot of rides that just different name. Like I don't know, Top Gun, Batman, they're both the same ride. I forget which one was Great Adventure in Jersey, like whether it was Top Gun or Batman, the inverted roller coaster.
Yeah, that's Batman. But sometimes it can be the style of ride and a different layout too.
Right, it might be slightly different layout, but it reminded it was to me. It was like, oh, that's that's Top Gun or that's Batman.
I was just, you know what? Now look, if you want, I won't do this to you guys too long, but that's what's called a B&M invert. The brand is Bollinger and Mabillard, and that is an inverted coaster. So that's what that brand and style of coaster is. I could look at any coaster and be like, oh yeah, that's a this.
That's
I'm
so
like,
cool.
even my kids can do that shit now. They're like, Dad, that's an arrow, right? Or is that a Vekoma? Like, my kids are good, man. And my wife's just like, I cannot believe that this is what we talk about. You know, she's like, you're the biggest loser I know. So let's see so, hey, Jeremy, anything you wanted to kind of chat about before we kind of look in the chat, and then we'll move on to some players. Anything that's on your mind, or?
You know, we bring up names all the time. There's one name I wanted to bring up because lately we talk about Gasno, Klecko, and all those years, and I want to see if you'll remember right away. Most of the chat probably won't remember him, but a position we need right now. How much would you love to have number 40 from the late 80s?
Oh, Hasty?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Come on, man. James Hasty is literally one of my favorite Jet cornerbacks of all time. I happen to like, well, obviously Revis, but I happen to like Aaron Glenn as a player a little bit more. But Hasty was no joke, dude, and he would lay the wood too. He was a strong cornerback. Remember when it was him? It was him, McMillan, Brian Washington. Yep. And then Ronnie Lott came in. So we had Hasty, Mike Brim, who was not that bad. Mike Brim was actually pretty good too. So we had Mike Brim, James Hasty, Ronnie Lott, and Brian Washington in our defensive backfield. That was okay. Then Lonnie Young was our safety for a while.
You know what I loved about Hasty was that he never shut up. Like you could see it on the TV screen that he never shut up. He was just yapping the whole game. I loved it. That attitude.
Dude, he was so good, man. That's a good pull, man. Nobody talks about James Hasty very much. It's crazy. He just kind of like vanished into the ether, you know? It's weird.
Yeah, and he had like a 13-year career. I mean, he went all the way to like 99, 2000, I think.
Yeah, and he went to numerous Pro Bowls. Do you remember when the Kansas City Chiefs literally took our entire defensive backfield? James Hasty, Brian Washington, and I believe Ronnie Lott.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. They just took everybody. I was like, what is this? They're the Jets, the secondary.
It was funny. It's like, but on our end, it was weird. Like they were looking like these guys were treating them as if they were washed up, like it was time to move on. Then they went to the Chiefs and played 3 or 4 more years as a unit.
Yeah, they were good.
They were still good, man. So I don't know. The Jets do some weird things. I remember I was actually in a psychiatric unit in Newark, New Jersey. I had some rough times, but so I was in a psychiatric unit. I was watching a preseason Jets game, and there was a guy running around. He made like 2 or 3 picks in one preseason game. His name was Atari Bigby, and that week of cuts, they cut him. He made 2 or 3 picks in one game. They cut him. He gets signed immediately by Green Bay and ends up having this fantastic career. But like, who do we cut him for? Like some scrub on our roster that we liked better. The Jets are known for doing stupid stuff like that, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. We've done some stupid things.
Yeah, and Joseph Grant is saying Victor Green was another great safety. He really was, man. He was a liability a little bit in coverage. He was not to be trusted, or like there wasn't like you would be. ill-advised to put too much coverage responsibility on Victor Green, but he could do it, but it was kind of his weakness. But as far as a run-stopping safety, man, that guy, and he was an undrafted free agent, man, which was so cool. Do you remember what round was James Hasty drafted in? Do you remember? Was he a first?
I don't think he was a first, because I remember being surprised by him. I mean, it's possible, because back then we didn't follow the draft as hard, right? It wasn't like this.
Right. It wasn't what it is now. Definitely. He was a third round pick. He was the 74th pick. Let me see. So he played for the Jets. He was drafted in 1988, man.
Yeah, that sounds
wow,
right.
That's even before I thought he was. I thought he was like 1990. Maybe, yeah, no, I guess I knew that, because 91. Oh, no. Yeah, I guess I thought it was a little bit later than that. So he played for the Chiefs for 5 years. He played for the Jets for 6, the Chiefs for 5, and the Raiders for 1. So he played all the way till 2001, dude.
Yeah, 13 years, right?
Incredible.
Yeah, that's a long career for a cornerback.
That really is. And he played at a high level.
Yeah.
You know, so it's crazy. I know there's a couple guys, you know, from like those, like a couple guys that I really think, I feel like it's painful that we don't talk about. And one is Mo Lewis. Like if I say Mo Lewis, everybody says the same thing over and over. The first comment everybody says about Mo Lewis is always the same. He gave us Tom Brady. Like fuck Mo Lewis, you know, because he did the hit on Bledsoe.
Oh,
I know
like it wasn't going to happen.
Dude, Mo Lewis played for us for 12 years. He went to like 5 Pro Bowls. He was an All-Pro. He's I don't know. He's like third or 4th in sacks. Like he was an amazing football player, and we just never talk about him. It's like he's completely forgotten just because of that hit. It's like it's crazy. He hits Drew Bledsoe and crushed him, broke his ribs and everything. And then Tom Brady comes in and has this great career, but it's not Mo Lewis's fault. The day that it happened, you know, the day that it happened, it was like the best thing that ever happened, because we didn't know Tom Brady was a 6th round pick. We wanted Drew Bledsoe gone. You know,
I think Brady was going to find his way onto the field eventually.
I think so. Right. That you weren't going to keep that one caged in too long.
Hey, a guy that you must have loved that you don't talk about, I thought you talk about him more, Mickey Schuler.
Oh, I love Mickey Schuler. Love Mickey Schuler. That's, to me, he's the guy who really formulated my opinions on what a tight end should be. Like that's how I look at a tight end. The guy who can block, will do anything with his body for the team, and can catch everything you throw at him. Yards after the catch, will run a guy over, will step over somebody. Like that's, dude, he did anything that you needed to do to get the job done. He's one of the best. So Salmon Jets is asking who my friend is. My friend is Jeremy Kravat, Salmon. Jeremy Kravat is one of you guys. Like he's always always with us in the live streams and in the videos and in the chats and everything. I had a contest on Instagram where I put up a little picture of a Jets guy, a little kid wearing a Jets shirt. It was like an animated thing. It was on the wall on one of the piers on the Jersey Shore. And I just took a picture and put it on Instagram. And I said, if anybody can tell me where I found this guy, you'll win a co-host spot on one of the live streams. So Jeremy did not know where it was, but a lot of people guessed, but they would guess once, maybe twice. Jeremy went as far as to sneakily call. He went to my wife's Instagram page, and he said, hey, do I get any points for coming over here to ask you where that was? Like, can you tell me where it is? So we didn't give him the points for that, but then by process of elimination, he guessed all the places, all the piers, and he got it. So fair is fair. You know what I mean?
You know how I was getting my guesses. I was getting my guesses because I went to your wife's page and looked at one of the pictures of Coney Island, and she had tagged all the different parks on the Jersey Shore. She had tagged a lot of the parks. So I was getting those names and just typing them in and guessing. It was hysterical.
Yeah. That's it. I know it's funny and that was the last one you guessed. You guessed every other pier before that one, even like LBI. So Salmon, that's who he is. He's a guy who won a contest. He's here with us every week anyway. So I'm happy to have him with me tonight. This is fun. So Frank Haver says, remember watching preseason on tape delay on WPIX? Remember that? When we couldn't watch the games, we had to wait till like 11 p.m. to watch the damn preseason Giants game. Remember that? What is that?
I do remember that.
How wacky of a world. We weren't allowed to watch it. It's like weird.
That is a crazy memory, and it's so true. I really do remember that. I remember late at night staying up to watch.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us watch it because the game was like it was like a blackout kind of a thing. Like they wanted people to go to the game. So they wouldn't show it live, and you had to wait till tape delay to watch it on PIX channel 11 up there. It's crazy. So so we got some people talking about Mo Lewis and some others. So Rusty Spooner, what's up, Rusty? Mo is the effing man. Brady was a fluke 6th rounder. That's a Hall of Famer. He's like Voldemort from Harry Potter. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, forgive me. I'm still shaking off whatever sickness I had the other day.
It's not COVID.
No, it's not. Isn't that interesting? I just have a cold. Isn't that weird? Weird. I didn't know you can still do that, Jeremy. I didn't know you could still get a cold. You know,
it's go figure.
So
no, I'm an assistant principal in elementary school, so every time a kid gets sick, it's like causes a whole panic in the school.
Oh, you are? Wow, man. So I could see that. I bet every time somebody sneezes, it's like, oh, shut it down.
Exactly.
Oh,
it's been crazy.
Oh, hey, man. God bless you. God bless you, man. So Jamie Nagar says Marvin Jones and Mo Lewis were a great combo. And I'll raise that, Jamie. Do you remember when it was Mo Lewis, Marvin Jones, and Brian Cox? Remember that threesome?
Cox was great for us.
Dude, remember that? Parcells called Brian Cox. He was on the golf course. He was like semi-retired. And Parcells called him and said, I want you to play. He said, where are you? He said, I'm on the golf course. He said, well, get on a plane and come up here. And he said, okay. And it was almost like, you think somebody's like washed up or done. He came in, he looked like he never stopped playing. He was an animal for us. I loved that. Oh man. Jeremy, do you remember the linebacker that we had who was like our main linebacker at the time? There were two really, but when we drafted Mo Lewis and when he came in, you remember who he was playing with?
I might be off here, but Lance Mel?
No, it was after that.
That was way before. Okay. Oh, is that? Well, yeah, I'm going way back too far. No, I'll know the name obviously the second you say it.
Yeah. So there are two. The one was Kyle Clifton. Kyle Clifton was Kyle Clifton was the man, dude. That guy would get 230 tackles a year. He was insane.
I loved him.
He got 200 tackles. Yeah. But the other guy that we got, so it was Kyle Clifton, Mo Lewis, and Joe Brady. You remember him?
Oh yeah.
Dude.
He was really good.
Dude, he was really good. Our linebackers were sick back then. And then, so there's been so many times that we had really a lot of talent on this team. And it was really, our issue has been leadership, and like from coaching and general manager position for the longest time, man. Dick Steinberg was a good general manager. He brought in all those guys, Jeff Lageman, Dennis Bird, Mo Lewis, all those guys. But like really just like the management of the team, like our coaching, Rich Kotite, Bruce Coslet, Joe Walton, like we never had anybody that was like on par when you played the Pittsburgh Steelers or you played the Dallas Cowboys. Like we never had the coach who was able to figure out how to beat them no matter what team we had. But we've had some talent, man.
We've had some really bad luck with injuries to quarterbacks. I mean, Ken O'Brien hurt his shoulder when we were 10-1. And that affected that season. And then Testaverde obviously goes down with, no contact, out for the season. And I think Chad Pennington was going to be the man. I really do. Me too. And I think that's what, so 3 times I think we had a quarterback that was ready to take the team far, and just bad luck.
Yeah. Chad Pennington was one of the best quarterbacks we've ever had in the green and white, like without question. His thing was injuries. He was so money, dude. He was so incredibly precise and accurate, and he was such a good leader, man. He rallied everybody up. Everybody loved playing for Chad, and he just kept going down. He had 3 season-ending injuries with us, 2 shoulders and a wrist, and that's among other injuries. So it's a shame, man. It really is. Chad would have taken us there. I know he would have. I know.
I mean, we had, you know, I've told you in the past, I was at that Chargers game, you know, that went into overtime, and you know, I watched Chad hit homes with amazing pass, and he was amazing. The next week, he did everything that he could do to beat Pittsburgh. We won that game and just missed a field goal with that kid that we drafted. You know, the one time we drafted a kicker early from from Ohio State, and he misses the field goal. Mike Nugent misses the field goal, but Chad did everything to win that game. I mean, we beat Pittsburgh that game, really. I mean, he just missed, you know, we just missed that field goal.
Dude, tell me, if we ever use a 2nd-round pick on a kicker again, I don't think it could happen in today's social media age. I really don't think it can. Like, there's no way we would deal with that. You cannot do that. You are not allowed to do that. I don't think Joe Douglas is stupid enough to do that, man. You know, really. I mean, that was and we gave our 1st-round pick that year for Chris Dudley, the tight end. That's why we didn't have a first. That was our thing about that. We got Chris Dudley, and our 1st pick in the draft was a kicker.
It's amazing we still competed. It's amazing. Making moves like that, we still competed.
I know. Herm was actually an underrated coach. He was pretty good. His whole thing was time management and like in game. He didn't really know what he was doing because he was a coordinator. I mean, he wasn't even a coordinator. He was a defensive backs coach, and we hired him to be our head coach. So it's one of those things, man. But we had a few really good years under Herm.
Hey, you play to win the game.
You play to win the game. Hello. That's so great. So Gitmo Bob says New England fans still say Brady was a brilliant pick. I say it was the all-time luckiest pick. I don't think there's any argument there. I mean, dude, every team in the NFL passed on Brady 5 or 6 times. So that's not brilliance. That's luck. You know, no one, and I mean no one, thought Tom Brady was going to be Tom Brady. It just doesn't, you know, shit happens. But you never know. Like we were just talking about, with not to the same degree, but like a guy like Victor Green. Look at, Barry Foster, the running back for the Texans. He was an undrafted free agent, one of the greatest running backs of all time. And it's like, so you never know. You just never know. That's why it's so interesting. Like when we put so much emphasis on these draft picks and stuff, it still is to a large degree. It's really more about the character of the individual. Like, because if somebody's an undrafted free agent or a 6th-round pick or a 7th-round pick, and that's it, like they are determined to do it, they can still do it. Like, there's nothing that says they can't. Just because you're not a 1st-round pick doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean?
You know, sometimes you come from a small school too, and there's no way to know, right? I mean, that's why it's so ridiculous when the biggest knock somebody has on a player is, oh, they weren't in the big games or playing for the big teams. Look at a list of all the great players in the last 30 years. Did they all come from Ohio State? Did they all come from Alabama? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It's just Arian Foster. What'd I say? No, Barry Foster. Wasn't that the guy? Wait a minute. Barry Foster.
It was definitely Foster was for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but it wasn't Arian Foster. It's a different game.
No, it was Barry Foster.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Maybe it was Barry Foster. Maybe it wasn't he was like let me see. This might Barry Foster, Pittsburgh for
early 90s.
No, it's not Barry. Maybe it is Arian Foster. Maybe you're right. What I say? Yeah. Wait. Let me see. Arian Foster. Let's see. Yeah, that's the guy. Arian Foster. Good catch. Good catch. I really love when you correct me. I love it. No, I do actually. I do. Hey guys, so hold on one second, Jeremy. My dog's crying to get out of this. I'm in a screen house, so let me just take my dog and bring him right to the door. I'll be back in less than a moment. All right.
I'll entertain everyone when you're gone. Okay.
There you go. There's a plan.
Yeah. In the chat, who is your favorite Jets running back? I love Johnny Hector. This is not easy to be alone. I don't know how Greeny does it. It's not really easy, but Just by Jimmy knows. But I can't see the chat, so that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, you can't see the chat?
Chad Pennington. No, I got my phone open now. I couldn't see it, so I couldn't see what they're saying. Somebody said Chad Pennington made Randy Moss. Definitely in college he did. He helped him in college, that's for sure.
Well, where was Randy Moss first? Was it? I forget which school Randy Moss went to.
He was in Minnesota first, but he played with Chad in college.
Yeah, but he played for Marshall. So he played for another school first, got into some trouble, and then went to Marshall, if I remember correctly. It's a long time ago, man, but I remember something like that. Yeah, there's more. What's that?
Sorry, I'm saying if you look at the chat, you'll see all these running backs popping in there, because when you were gone, I said, who's your favorite Jets running back of all time?
Oh, nice. Yeah, good. See, you know what you're doing, man. You know how to do this thing. So I'm with Frank Markopoulos, and we'll go through everybody's. Yeah, this is good. Good idea. I'm with Frank Markopoulos, though. I'll tell you, my favorite Jets running back of all time up to this point is Freeman McNeil. I absolutely loved Freeman, almost to the degree that Mark Gastineau kind of firmed up my Jets fanhood. Freeman McNeil is right there, man. Like, he's the offensive guy who I loved as a kid. Man, you could have handed the ball to Freeman every play, and I would have been happy as a little kid. Who's your favorite?
I was telling them that I love Johnny Hector, but there's a reason for that, because my friends used to call me Hector as a nickname. So there's, with Johnny Hector, they'd always say Johnny. But so it's just a coincidence. But what I loved about Freeman, probably, I don't know, and maybe I'm forgetting right now, but in my mind right now, I'm thinking that he was probably the greatest greatest running back that we had ever drafted, like natural Jet running back that we ever had.
Freeman?
Yeah, because Curtis Martin was amazing, but he wasn't drafted by us, right? I mean, we got him, so Freeman may have been like the best running back we ever drafted.
That's right. But interestingly, Curtis Martin was drafted by the coach that we had. So he was drafted by Bill Parcells in New England. Yeah. Parcells came over here and then just brought over his guy. But you're correct. I don't think about that. We haven't drafted a running back. Freeman McNeil's it. That's right. Well, I think we drafted John Riggins too, and I think a lot of older heads will definitely tell you that John Riggins was better than Freeman McNeil. I don't agree, only because I didn't watch John Riggins as a Jet. I just didn't. I don't have any recollections of John Riggins as a Jet. I did watch him for Washington. I remember him being on Washington, but as far as being a Jet. So look at Joseph Granny. He says Freeman McNeil, Johnny Hector, and Mike Augustiniak were a stable of loaded backs and talent. And then we added Roger Vick with a first-round pick to that mix. I remember Augustiniak. I actually liked Augustiniak a whole bunch. I remember thinking when I was a kid, it was like this. We have a guy named Gastineau, and we have a guy named Augustiniak. I just thought that was our thing, like long, weird names. Like, that's what I thought as a kid. Like, oh, he's got a weird name. He's good for the Jets. Like, I don't know. I was fucking 8 years old. But that's what I thought. Oh, I loved saying Augustiniak. But, yeah, man, that was a good group. Do you remember him?
I remember him. I don't remember him playing much. Like, I don't remember watching him play specifically. I don't have, like, the memories of watching him play. I remember the name and remember thinking he had the best name. I actually remember thinking, how could he not be a great big star with that name? Right.
It's really a rough and tumble name, isn't it? So John Heibendahl would like to know, who are you wearing?
Oh, this is my man. This is my man forever.
There he is. Wayne Kravat. Yeah, dude. That's how do you not love Wayne Kravat? Seriously.
That's my guy forever. Yeah. Nothing but heart, man.
That's a good guy right there. And that's pretty much the one thing that we really can thank Kotite for. Without Kotite, Kravat isn't a thing. You know what I mean? I think they said at one point he was literally the 12th wide receiver in camp at one point. 12th. So, I mean, I don't even know if you have, but like when you have a 90-man roster, they had 12 receivers in. They thought he would be here a couple days. He was a walk-on from Hofstra, you know?
I was listening to him on, Sabo had him on, or they're doing a podcast together, and he's telling his story. And I saw the first one, and he's talking about the early years. And I'll tell you one thing I love about Wayne Kravat right off the bat, aside from the player and everything that he was, after hearing him a couple of weeks ago, he's just the most normal, down-to-earth guy in the world. I mean, he's just a regular guy. He could be here with us talking. I mean, he's just a regular guy, typical New York guy, you know, go and get a slice of pizza with him. He's just a regular
and
dude.
That's the best. That's what's, dude, like that's the allure with him. It's like you said all heart. Like that's what it is with him. It's like that guy clearly didn't have the same natural ability as a lot of the people that he shared the field with, but he willed his way to greatness. And the whole time he's just one of us. He's like one of us in the chat making it. That's it. That's all he is. That's so great, man. So let's look at a few more. Sayron says, Wayne Corbett, that's what you were just talking about. He's on the JetX show. I think that's a regular show. So I can't wait to see that. I didn't see an episode yet, but I love Sabo, so I'm going to try to watch that. Nick says Frank Gore. That's his favorite Jet running back. Good choice. Good choice. Eric says Curtis. Sam Aiken says Martin. And there, Rusty Spooner says Riggins, like I was talking about. Sayron says Curtis Martin. J.E. says Adrian Morrell. Interesting choice. Remember Parcells, when he brought in Curtis Martin and cut Adrian Morrell, he said that Adrian Morrell left yards on the field. That's what he said. That's why I moved on. He said he's a good ball player. I like him, but he leaves yards on the field. That was an interesting thing to say. You know, so in other words, he's not working 100%. He's not squeezing every ounce out of himself. And Martin, as we know, did that. But I liked Adrian Morrell, too, out of West Virginia. He was good for us for a while. John Heidendahl says Martin. Ooh, Gitmo Bob says Emerson Boozer, the greatest name for any player. Absolutely, Bob. Absolutely.
That was a great name. If O'Leary was here, he'd say Bilo Powell, right? He loved Powell.
Yeah.
But that also speaks to O'Leary's age because he's 26.
Well, right. Exactly. That's the guy. That's the era. You know, you grew up, watching him. But I liked him too, man. I liked him too. But it's fun. Like Bilal Powell fits right into the same mold as some other guys we've had in a similar position. Obviously, Leon Washington, who I'm so psyched is back with us. Another guy named Leon Johnson is another one. Then we had guys like Brad Baxter. Even though he was a fullback, he did fit a similar role. And then we have a great history of fullbacks going back to like Augustiniak and Roger Vick. But we've had Brad Baxter. We had Gerald Sowell. We had Richie Anderson, Tony Richardson. Like we've had some really, really upper echelon fullbacks on the New York Jets. Like running back is a thing that we've done pretty well with over the years. It's really sad this last decade how bad it's really been, because we've had really, it's worthy of being proud, like how our running backs over the years. And I think maybe not having that like star like a Curtis Martin or that number one bell cow type of a guy. But over the years, we have had a collection of really nice running backs, and Bilal Powell's a part of that, man. I like Bilal Powell. He was never going to be that great guy, but I think we could have used him a little bit more over the years, especially when he was younger, and he probably would have done well,
He was always the best back in camp. Like, I remember every year in camp, he was the best back we had. Like, it's just, that's the way it seemed to me. It was always like, why aren't we using this guy?
Yeah,
every summer.
Exactly, dude. Like we always have another running back in as the starter. They run into the line. They get 2.4 yards a carry for a quarter, and then you give it to him twice, and he gets 9 yards, and then 12 yards, and then we put him back on the bench. It's the same thing.
Made no sense.
Yeah, I know. I felt the same way. I got a super chat from Dmitry I'm going to do this. Sarulnikov. Dmitry Sarulnikov. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Tight end we got from Raiders in 05 was Doug Jolly. I said Dudley. That's the guy for the Knicks, Chris Dudley. They look exactly alike. That's funny. Thank you. Doug Jolly. I am in the minority, but in my opinion, the Jets had a decent quarterbacks through the years, but either bad luck or not enough talent. What do you think of that, Jeremy? Do you agree?
Yeah. Look, I think it's a combination. I think we had, like I said, we had quarterbacks that were good enough to get us there for sure. We'd never had our John Elway, Brady, Peyton Manning. I mean, we've never had that, but it's also bad luck because we've had guys like that could have gotten us there, good enough to lead us to a Super Bowl, like Eli, maybe Eli Manning level, right? I mean, guys that could have been, if they didn't get hurt, Chad could have been, Vinny Testaverde could have been, and I think Ken O'Brien definitely could have been. I mean, he was looking great that year. I think it was 86. He was looking so good, and then it just that one injury.
1986. He was actually better than Dan Marino and Elway and all those guys. He was better. And it looked like we might have been brilliant, but such it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. But I think there's a point to be made, Dimitri. I think there's definitely an argument to be made. I'm not sure I agree with you, but I think we have had a couple of really good quarterbacks. Like Jeremy just said, I think Ken O'Brien was an exceptional cornerback for a while. We should not have taken him over Dan Marino, but I think he was a very good quarterback. Situationally, he had a rough go. But guys like we were just talking about, Chad Pennington was an amazing quarterback, man. And people some people don't like him. Some people think that we should have kept Vinny in at the time. I get it. That was a bigger argument than trade or keep Sam this year. The Chad Pennington versus Vinny Testaverde debate online was brutal. I mean, people went to, and actually I know guys that from online went and met each other to fight from like Jetnation years ago over that one. It's crazy. I'm serious too. Like they actually went and fought. So crazy times, but yeah, I think still, like when you look at the drafting of guys like Mark Sanchez or Geno Smith, like they were okay quarterbacks. But look, Mark Sanchez's team for his first 2 years was as good of a team as you can give a quarterback. That team was loaded. It was stocked from inside out, man. The offensive and defensive lines were stout. The linebackers were great. The wide receivers were great. The running back, we had Thomas Jones and Sean Green, and then LaDainian Tomlinson and Sean Green. Like, dude, that team was there. Mark Sanchez was the weak link next to the coaching. Brian Schottenheimer was not a good offensive coordinator. I don't care what anybody says. He might be brilliant and all that, but he very, very poor game management. But so I don't know. I think like he was a good quarterback, but when you look at how a guy does when they leave us, that's a pretty good indicator if it was us or if it was them. Mark Sanchez left us, went to the Eagles, had a couple good games, and his career was over, dude. He was on the Eagles a few years as a backup, went to the Redskins as a backup, and he retired. So like
he went to Dallas too. Dallas.
Did he? Yes. Okay. So Dally played the whole NFC East, and then but then he retired, dude, at 10 years in. So why? If he was a great quarterback, why? Geno Smith has been a backup. When he left the New York Jets, he has been a backup the entire time. The Giants tried to put him in as a starter one year. They fired the coach and put Eli back in. So like Geno Smith has been a backup. So he was Geno Smith we had a team built around Geno Smith. That was Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker, all those guys. And he went to the locker room and got his jaw broken in his own locker room. So that says more about the man than it does about the team. And we did not have a good, Todd Bowles, I'm not a fan of. But at that time, he was new. We had Chan Gailey. We were stocked. We had a good team that year. And sadly to say, Geno Smith couldn't put it together to get on the field. So and Fitzpatrick stole his opportunity. But so I think like we've had good opportunities, like we've had good quarterbacks. But I think the problem has been more about our coaching and management. So it's a combo, like you said, Jeremy. I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
What's going on over there? Everything okay?
For me, you hear my dog? That's
what that is, your dog?
Yeah, it was only a matter of time. He wasn't going to last. Now he wants me to play with him and chase him around the table.
But thank you for the super chat, Dimitri. I appreciate it. So Jerome Strax comes in and says Moss went to Notre Dame, then Florida State, then Marshall. I remembered Florida State. I didn't even know about Notre Dame, but yeah. So he wasn't always Marshall. When he went to Marshall, him and Chad were something else. They were a great combination. So let's see. Kenny O'Brien to Boomer to Vinny to Pennington, all good enough to get to a Super Bowl. Yeah, maybe. I mean, Boomer Esiason had terrible teams. Terrible. Even though that was the free agency period, the Jets were the big winners in free. Do you remember the first free agency class, Jeremy?
I just saw Boomer and I got distracted. I was thinking of Johnson, the running back who came from the Cardinals to us.
Yeah,
that's because I met him and said, "How was it playing with Boomer or whatever?" You know, but anyway, which free agency class are you talking about?
The first one, the first ever free agency class. Remember that was Boomer Esiason, Ronnie Lott, Leonard Marshall, all those guys, and some more guys. Do you remember that?
I remember getting those guys. I didn't have that memory that was the first free agent class. I didn't know that. But I remember getting Boomer, of course, you know, because did he get to Super Bowl with Cincinnati? I thought he did and lost to the Niners. Was he the quarterback back then? Or Boomer for the Bengals.
I missed the question.
When Boomer was on the Bengals, did he get to the Super Bowl? I thought he got close or got there. He lost to the Niners, right?
Yeah, he got there and lost to the Niners.
Yeah.
Well, Boomer is a little bit overrated. I mean, he's a really good quarterback, but I think he was a little bit overrated in a lot of people's minds. I mean, he had these really great moments, but he wasn't the guy to like carry you and put you on his shoulders kind of a guy. But I think, Dimitri has a good point. I think all of them were good enough, maybe. Like Ken O'Brien was good enough, but for a lot of his career, he just wasn't. A lot of his career, he was the weak link when he got benched. I mean, we didn't even use him in the playoffs in 1986 against the Chiefs and the Browns. I mean, that was Pat Ryan. You know what I mean? Because Ken O'Brien was in that slump. So, I don't know. It goes both ways. I think that we have had more players. We've had more opportunities than it looks like from the naked eye, like from the an observer looking on was, the Jets have always sucked. It's not really the case. Like, we're not the Cleveland Browns, man. The Cleveland Browns were just an abyss of talent for so long. The Jets are not that. And we've had a lot of good years. This decade it's incredible that it's been 10 years. Because we had a really good decade before that. We were in the playoffs.
It's never really happened to us. I know we have the reputation and like the Jets a joke, but really, like you're saying, the only thing we have against us is we never made since '69. We've never made the Super Bowl in now 50 years. But it's never been about not having our phases and our runs of being a great team. We've had our runs. I mean, we've had many runs. It's just that we get our heart broken and we don't get to the Super Bowl.
If we just had one, and we could shut everybody up. But Nix has a good comment. He says, Bubby Brister was 3 good wide receivers, 1 good O-line, 1 good defense, and 1 good coach from a Super Bowl. That's a great comment, Nix. It really is. That's a good one. Another one from Frank Markopoulos. Christian Hackenberg was a legend.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude, what was that? I'm telling you.
That was a joke the day after, or the minute after they made it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like nobody could believe it. Nobody could believe that that's really what the Jets did. And remember, Mike McCagnon almost traded up to get him. He thought that they were going to take him. Remember, there was a team that traded to the pick before us. He was convinced. He had like a heart attack. He thought they were jumping up to take Hackenberg. And then when they didn't, he just sent the card in as soon as he could. And it's just the guy was so misguided and out of touch.
Was that a worse pick? What would you say, the Hackenberg pick by the Jets or the Green Bay picking Jordan Love? Like, which was the worst pick for an organization?
Oh, I think the Hackenberg pick's a much worse pick because at least, Green Bay, as bad of a pick as that was, it's just such a misguided approach to like what you're doing. Like, you have a Hall of Fame quarterback playing MVP style football, dude. Just support him and ride it till it's over. You know what I mean? Right. You just ride it till it's done. So I think it's a bad pick. But the Jets pick was we were in desperate need of a quarterback, and we. What made Hackenberg worse was that because he was on the roster, that was the justification to not take Deshaun Watson or Mahomes for that matter. But I think Deshaun Watson was really the guy in that draft. Yeah. Obviously, the Bears took Trubisky first, but Deshaun Watson was looking like the guy in that draft that was probably going to have the best career. Mahomes, they had a lot of question marks and stuff. So I can understand a team being a little bit leery on taking him. But dude, Deshaun Watson was an absolute stud. And that was the guy I would have taken. But dude, we didn't take him because Hackenberg. That's what makes it even worse. Oh,
right. The opportunity cost what he cost us by having him or by making that pick and not making it's what we didn't do afterwards.
You know, it's a funny thing. It's like when you look at certain things that Maccagnan did, like Maccagnan traded a 5th round pick for Brandon Marshall, and it looked like this great trade, right? Like it really did. It was like, all right, well, Brandon Marshall's older, but if he's definitely worth a 5th round pick. But what it also did was the Chicago Bears were also looking for a wide receiver in the draft that year, and they knew by giving Brandon Marshall to the Jets, it would take them out of the wide receiver race. Like, so it's just one of those things where certain teams play chess and other teams play checkers. Like trading a 5th for Brandon Marshall is all well and good, but like there's deeper levels to it. There was this whole thing written on just how bad Mike Maccagnan really was and how played he was by other GMs. And it's downright sad. But that's one of them. And I probably didn't do the best job explaining it, but there are layers to it like that. Very similar to like the Colecchio Assembly trade. Like you look at, we needed an offensive lineman. The Raiders have a guy, he's a former Pro Bowl guy. And all they want is to move from their, all you have to give them is a 5th, and then they give you Colecchio Assembly and a 6th. It looks like a brilliant trade, but they didn't want him. They didn't want the $10 million, and they looked at him as a headache. So they didn't want him on their team. So Mike Maccagnan looks like, oh, he's getting this great guy. But what happened? As soon as he came over here, he was a headache. He didn't shut up. He was always talking. He made all the rounds on all the TV shows and blah, 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 blah. And then the first time he gets a little bit, a little injury, he ends up, needing to be cut because he wouldn't, long story short is the Jets doctors didn't agree that he needed surgery. And he was like, no, I'm going to get the surgery. It was a whole big thing, but the Raiders got rid of the headache and we took it on, and it looked like a cheap price, but really what happened was they got a 5th out of it, so it's like there are layers to this. And like the Jets now, when you look at how Joe Douglas moves and how he plays things, it's very chess-like. Like we, moved back all the times last year. We're getting rid of loudmouth players for firsts and seconds and all this kinds of stuff. And then his ability to move around in the draft, up, down, it's really incredible, man. And I'm telling you, it's just the most refreshing thing in the world.
We have the opposite situation now. I mean, now we have a guy who's just making great moves, smart moves. I love it.
Yeah, well, look, and Cardozo has technically speaking, if you look at it on the ground level, it's not a bad move, right? The player's fine. But what happened the next year? The next year, number one, we didn't get to the playoffs, so there's that. So Brandon Marshall's never been to the playoffs. So him and Fitzpatrick can be as great as they want. Hey, hit mute while that's, just do me a favor, hit the mute button while that's.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
On the bottom, you'll see a little mute button. See it? Hold on, I'll mute you. I got you. I'll bring you back in. It's louder than you realize, I think. No sweat. Can you still hear me, though? Yeah, okay. So it's like when you look at Brandon Marshall, it's like, yes, he had a great season. So did Fitzpatrick, but we didn't make it to the playoffs. So there's that. And the next year, Brandon Marshall was a huge issue, was a big reason why that team completely collapsed. Him and Sheldon Richardson. So let's not forget that. Like Brandon, a 5th for a 1 year where we didn't get to the playoffs, and then a complete destruction of a team. And we probably didn't draft a receiver, even though Mike Maccagnan, looking back, would have probably drafted the wrong guy anyway. But like we didn't draft a receiver because we had Brandon Marshall in the house. Like that's what I mean, Cardozo. There are just layers to this that some GMs are looking at and playing long ball. And Mike Maccagnan plays short ball. He plays, he plays immediate gratification game, and that's why it doesn't work. Look, I like Brandon Marshall. I mean, he was a blast to watch, and I liked him when he was on Denver. All that. I didn't like him on Miami, and all that, but I liked Brandon Marshall when it was him and Jay Cutler and Denver. I thought that was exciting. He was a great player, and getting him was fun. But again, it didn't work. We didn't make it to the playoffs because he's a perpetual loser, with all due respect to him. And again, the next year, he was a huge personal issue in the locker room. So how good was it really? You know what I mean?
And that's another thing that's improved for us now and you understand why JD is getting these high character guys, right? These captains. I mean, because character means something. People forget that. They just fall in love with the talent.
That's it. That's exactly right. Like, how many times did you see like people wanting to sign maybe, you know, Clowney or whoever it is? And it's like Joe Douglas isn't even sniffing around there. He has no interest in those types of players, with all due respect to them. It's just, that's not what he's doing here, man. He has 85 people in camp for a voluntary, because he has a whole camp filled with team captains and leaders and hardworking blue collar guys that are team oriented. So they're all coming in because it's the right thing to do. You want to have a good team, you got to show up. And that's what it is. Not having to defend Le'Veon Bell not coming to voluntaries, even though he just got signed by the team. Like, dude, the optics of that. Le'Veon Bell should have known. You know what I mean? Like, and we all defended it. We're like, technically speaking, it's voluntary. He doesn't need to be here, and he's still working out, so it's fine. But the optics of it are like this. You are the marquee free agent for a team. You just got signed. There's a brand new head coach. Everything's new. Show up. Show up. You know what I mean? And that's the difference between the team that we were and the team that we are. And that's the big difference. That's where it really changes. So, look, we only got a couple minutes here, and we're going to wrap this up. But I wanted to just real quick mention the Michael Carters, dude. Do you see that Michael Carter II? Let's talk about him first. Michael Carter II, who has an opportunity to start as our slot corner, our nickelback on the defense. He has an opportunity to be a 5th round pick who starts. He is turning everybody's head at camp. And I mean, everybody's blown away with, number one, his on the field intelligence, how quick he's picking up everything, but his physical play and just how well and how fast he looks. He's a 4.3 guy. What do you think about him? Do you have any thoughts, or is this surprising to you, or what do you think?
I'm super excited. I'll tell you, I saw in the chat before, way back when we started, before I came on, somebody was saying, you know, Green, they're not all going to work out, like as you were naming all the names. And I think that what they didn't understand is that we realize that every one of them is not going to work out, but what individually each one has something to be excited about, right? Every time we talk about one of them, I get excited. Like Carter, no question. Nazarene, I get super excited about him. And the point is we don't expect to hit on everyone, but we may have just gotten 3 quality guys. Let's say 3 out of, even if you get 2 in those rounds, it's good. But
right.
I'm getting excited like we may have gotten 3 guys that are going to contribute to the team. One might end up being like Carter, like a great top 10, you know, eventually nickel, and then the others just being starters. I mean, I think that this might go down as our greatest draft in the history of the team, honestly.
Dude, it's incredible, isn't it? I mean, like, think about it. Like, and these guys might still bust. I mean, we don't know anything about it. But you look at Elijah Vera Tucker. He's as close to a slam dunk pick as you can get. He was the consensus #1 guard in the draft for a reason. And you got guys like Elijah Moore, who was an absolute stud, a 1st round grade on him by every team in the league. Every writer, everybody had Elijah Moore as a 1st round wide receiver. Then you add Michael Carter, who was top 5 back in the draft. And like you said, now we're going into the later rounds, and you come out of that with a potential starting nickel corner, a potential starting weak side linebacker. And you have 2, Jamian Sherwood and Nasruddin are going to be competing for that spot. And then you have guys like Rashid in the undrafted free agent class. I mean, all these guys, you have the ability to have a draft that is packed full of contributors. And last year, when you look at last year, dude, Becton, who there, I see a question there, and we'll get to that. Becton, So you have Becton, obviously going to be a starter. You have Denzel Mims, who I just can't wait until this guy shows everybody why he was who he was in the draft last year. And he slipped for whatever reason, but he's going to be a dominant wide receiver in this league. Then you got guys like Ashton Davis, Bryce Hall, Braden Mann. Dude, that's 5 guys. And that's not even, you still have guys like Lamar Jackson and Zuniga and Huff and all these potential guys that could be contributors, even if they're just special teams. We've never had 2 drafts like this. Now, we don't know, but the way that it's looking, the potential is blowing the doors off of our entire last decade. Just the potential. This draft, like you said, could very well be the best draft we've ever had, which would be insane, man. Like, I can't believe we're actually at this place where we're talking like this. It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, I heard Isaiah Dunn. Obviously, everybody heard about the play he made. He made a great play, but I hear his coverage looks great. And that's one of the things you could see when they're in shorts, right? The coverage, right? It's not like some positions are hard to see when they're in shorts, but like the coverage you could see. Here's this young guy that's covering the receivers and he's blanketing them and he's getting attention. And we didn't even say the name Kenny Yeboah. So it's when you start talking about undrafted free agents, and we have 3 or 4 that I'm excited about that could potentially make the team and contribute. We're not saying that every one of them is, but like when you have that many you're excited about, a couple of them are, right? Like, and it's exciting when you have a GM that can do that. Because when did we ever have that in our history where we were excited about undrafted free agents?
Oh, I know every now and then one would slip through, like a Snacks Harrison, like a Robbie Anderson. Like, look, you're going to get lucky from time to time, but not like now. Like even last year's undrafted free agent class, like Lamar Jackson, Javelin Guidry, Bryce Huff, like there are some players in there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And this year too, man, there are players in there. I can't believe we got Kenny Yeboah as an undrafted free agent. Like that blows my door. And dude, he's going to be our starting tight end. If not like a number 1 tight end, he's going to be a starting like number 2 tight end. And that's fine with me, man. That's fine with me. He's a good player to have. So real quick, Cadoza's continuing that. So let me just see. No Decker, no tight end, Fitz, erratic, Ivory gone. I don't see how it was Marshall's fault. Well, I don't think it's Marshall's fault we didn't get to the playoffs. I'm just saying that Marshall's never been on a team that's gone to the playoffs. That's something to that, man. You know what I mean? There's something to that. And Marshall's been bounced around the league for a reason. As good as he is, man, nobody's going to take that away from him, least of all me. I loved Marshall on the Jets. But again, it didn't work. And you look at the next year, he was quite literally held back from almost a fist fight with Sheldon Richardson in the locker room. And so I don't know how we can defend that, Cadozi. You know what I mean? So it just is what it is, But I'm just talking about the move itself. Like, look, you bring Brandon Marshall on for a 5th. Yes, great. It's good. Again, but there are deeper layers. The Chicago Bears didn't want him. Why? Why didn't they want him? Because of what happened the next year in 2016. And again, he's not the guy. He doesn't make it to the playoffs. So what is that? I don't know. It's maybe not his fault. It could just be 12 years of bad luck, but he's never been in a playoff game. On all that he's been on the Bears, the Broncos, the Dolphins, the Jets, and he's never made it to the playoffs. So there's just something to it. I don't know. Shit luck, maybe. I don't know. And I don't think it's his fault. But again, there's where there's smoke. You know what I mean? So we got another super chat from E-Rock. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Tried to send a sticker, couldn't get it to work, but here, just because you're the man. Oh, well, thank you, E-Rock. You trying to figure out the sticker thing? Well, that's a shame because everybody, I'm sure, would have loved the sticker. They would have loved to look at it. The stickers are great. They're fun. But let's just real quick. So the question, somebody said, what do you think here? Tommy R said, what's the deal with Becky on missing days? And that's Becton. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know. There hasn't been too much said about it. I don't know if there's a reason. Do you know, has anybody here heard of why that is? I'm all ears. I haven't heard of if it's good, bad, expected, if maybe he's at his mother's bedside. I mean, I really don't know what it is. So anybody know why Becton's not there? It's not a good look. It's not what we want to see, of course, especially with him being one of 5 guys that aren't there. It's not great, but does anybody know? Yeah, but the thing is, Cadoza, Kevin White was the 7th overall pick or 8th overall pick for a reason. Just because his career didn't work out, it's like coming out of the draft. Kevin White, that's actually the guy I wanted in that draft. We took Leonard Williams, but I wanted Kevin White all day, every day. Make no mistake, right? He was the 8th overall pick or something like that. So, you can look back with hindsight now, but White was a fantastic prospect coming out. I loved him and I wanted him. So anybody know? Yeah, John Amorello is saying doesn't feel good about it. Yeah, me neither, man. What was going to the super chat was going to be the mic drop? Yeah, but we had a question. I appreciate it though, Iraq. I do, man. Oh, those are shitty franchises. You can say what you want now. I mean, don't forget, again, you can look back and say things, but it wasn't that way. Cutler and Marshall were something, man. They were a dominant pair for a while there over in, and don't forget, that's the team that hired Josh McDaniels as the head coach. And the first thing he did was get rid of Cutler and trade Marshall. The guy blew up the team for no reason because he wanted to build it in the Patriots image, and he was gone 2 years later. Like Matt Patricia, like all the Patriots coaches, really, except for maybe Brian Flores in Miami. Maybe he'll stick around. I don't know. Wasn't there a picture released with him and ABT Wilson in the background? Yeah, there was, but he was there a little bit, Iraq, but I heard just yesterday that he wasn't there too. So I don't know why he's there. I mean, why he's not there. Sorry. I want this unit to be, look at John Amorello. What's up, buddy? I didn't say hello to you. I didn't see you. So hello. I want this unit to get as many reps together as possible before the regular season. Agreed. I couldn't agree more. The good news is that we have the entirety of mini camp, training camp, preseason, all that stuff this year. These are the voluntaries. I mean, we're this last 5-6 years, we're kind of really honed in on things like OTAs and all that. But 20 years ago, nobody gave a shit about that. Like, we didn't even pay attention to this. Right, Jeremy? Like, we weren't paying attention.
For all you know, for all we know, he was having cramps. He's got some soreness, and he didn't want to push it. I mean, we don't know. I mean, you play. People say, "Oh, play through soreness," but is it worth it in OTAs? Sometimes you compensate, and you get that's how you get hurt. And we have that new medical team that might be telling him, "Don't play right now. The time to sit."
That's right. The new medical team. Don't forget. Don't forget, Tommy. That's right. The new medical team said, "Hey, it's not worth it, buddy. You just sit home and watch Rick and Morty. That's what you do." So, all right, we dealt with Jamal, Holmes, and Tebow. Yeah, I know, Cadoza. It's been rough around here. So, all right, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up. This has been fun, man. This was good, Jeremy. I'm really happy that you were able to do this with me, man. And thanks again for playing along. Like obviously I busted your balls a little bit, but I'm tickled.
I love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love that you let me keep guessing because I really wanted to do it, and I'm glad I did. It was as fun as I thought it would be, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're awesome. Well, thank you, and I appreciate that. But I'll have you on again, man. Everybody to give one of your boys a regular in the chat here. Give him a little high five, a figurative high five. Let's thank him for being here. I think he did a great job. Yeah, I'll have you on again, man. Maybe maybe you can end up being a part of this on a little bit deep. Oh shit. I can't believe I almost forgot. This is so incredibly exciting. I'm going to show you guys something right now. So another guy that's a regular, he's one of our guys from the UK, and he doesn't really show up here too much. Every now and then in the beginning, but it's literally 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning there, and he works. But he sent me, so he's starting a little chapter of the Jets UK fan club, and he sent me this. So he just made this, and you guys are going to love it. His name is Phil Adams, and you see him if you're on my YouTube videos at all. He comments on just about every video, and I'm going to show you guys something right here. Wait, let me see here if I can get it up. Give me a second. I'm sorry. I had this all ready for you guys. Let me see where it is. Oh, it's not letting me. Hold on a second. I got to figure this out. Hold on. I'm going to get it up here. Bear with me. So anyway, dude, you guys are going to fucking love this thing, man. It's so cool. Let me see if I can share it now like this. Let me share screen. Let me share a little window here. So guys, look at this. This was he just sent this to me. He made this. Can you see it? Wait. Oh, God damn it.
I was sorry for a second. That was awesome.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I hit the delete button. I mean, the close button. Hold on, I'll get it. So this is what he made, guys. He's so incredibly proud of it. Come on, Bean. Here we go. All right, I'm getting there, guys. You got to bear with my old fingers. All right, so can you guys see this thing? So this is the Stoke-on-Trent. That's his little town in Staffordshire, England. And this is what he made. Look at all the 4 Jets logos. You got obviously the American flags. He figured out, the O as the football that we use in the Jets logo. Look at that. All 4 Jets logos on one flag. So he's going to be waving this around in the stadium when the Jets go out there and play the Falcons this year. But come on, tell me how badass this flag is. What do you think of that, Jeremy?
It's awesome. That is really awesome. I love it because we're playing in the UK, so hopefully they'll break it out when we're there.
Yeah, man. What do you guys think of this? Isn't this great, man? How badass is this thing? So I love that it's the UK flag done in green and white. I don't know. I'm blown away. I love it. Let me show you. I want to show you a picture of Phil Adams too. Hold on. Let me show you what this guy looks like here. Where is he? Do I have it? I might not have that one.
Can you imagine being in the UK, watching the NFL and saying, I'm going to be a Jets fan? You got to love it.
Yeah. Well, he's got a really long, awesome story about how he became a Jets fan. I'll leave that for him whenever he comes on here with us. But I asked him, I said, I wanted to see if he wanted to come on with us tonight for a few minutes and just talk about the flag. But he's like, dude, it's like 1:30 when you start. So he's like, no, thanks. I know, right? Sneakers to boots. We should sell these things. He said, is it for sale? So anyway, yeah, I thought you guys would like that. I think that's great. That's Phil Adams. If you see Phil on any of the chats or any of the comment sections, give him a little love. Tell him, let him know what you think. But anyway, that's a good one. I know, Jerome. I want one too. I'm hoping that he sends us one. That'll be cool. But anyway, Jeremy, thank you again. And I thank all you guys. I will see you guys soon. I'm going to be putting out another video tomorrow. But again, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you haven't hit the like button on this video, please do. It goes a long way toward algorithm prowess and benefit. That's really good. And you can also follow my full-time coaster tour, what I'm doing out here on the road at Full-Time Coaster Tour on YouTube. I really do appreciate subs there. I'm not at 1,000 yet, and I'm trying really hard to get there. So anyway, but again, Jeremy, you're the best, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, and have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, GreenBean. My pleasure.
You have a good night, Jeremy.
Take care.
And I'm not scared of Miami. Everybody's, Miami, they haven't proven shit to me. They haven't proven anything. And I'm not so convinced that they're going to be some juggernaut either. I mean, if they take these first round picks and keep taking guys like Austin Jackson, I'm going to feel real fine about it. I love Jets fans. You name one other organization that deals with the shit that we deal with and is still this passionate. Sure, you got the little segments, the dog pound. But look at the Patriots fans. They just had 20 years of there are kids, there are 20, 21-year-old, 25-year-old people in this world that are Patriots fans who have never known losing. Never in their entire lifetime. They were born into this Belichick Brady thing,
and they have consistently won. They've won 6 Super Bowls. They've been to 9 or whatever it is. And then when they didn't get in there, they were the AFC Championship game or the semifinals or whatever. And what happens the year that Tom Brady leaves? Dude, you have droves of people leaving the Patriots. These are diehard Pats fans. This is what they have. Diehard Pats fans going to be Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans. Why? Because I'm a fucking fan of Tom Brady. Bullshit. What is that? And when you have a 3-4 defense and you're drafting defensive tackles, all you're doing is you're drafting space eaters. So a guy like Quinnen Williams in a 3-4, it's like it makes it easy for him to be neutralized, and then his job just becomes eating space, which he does well, but he's just eating space when his real skill set is he's a slippery goon. He slides right, super strong, super fast, and he can get past the guy if there's more to concentrate on for the offensive line, right? And it's not cool to put those kinds of resources when guys like Fadukasi in the 6th and Kyle Phillips as an undrafted free agent can do a very, very good job. You don't need to use your 3 overall pick on a guy, on a defensive tackle in a 3-4. They were beating us up last week about being not good enough. We didn't deserve. We got this guy Shap saying that we don't deserve the number 1 pick. A team like the Jets doesn't deserve to be rewarded with a guy like Trevor Lawrence. This is the shit we hear. So we win a game. Everybody's supposed to be happy. What does the NFL media do? They laugh at us. You guys couldn't even do that. You can't even lose right. Yeah. It's a double-edged sword, and it cuts both ways for us. So, f*** you.